Today we're taking a look at the injectable razor blade made by Parker. After I ordered this in the mail, I got it in a very simple little brown box. What I found inside was the razor with one blade already in it, as well as the injectable cartridge with 20 blades inside. The razor is made out of stainless steel, and what they are saying is a resin. In other words, it's a plastic handle to give the handle a little bit more girth and comfortability, as well as grip, as it does have a texture on it so that you're not accidentally dropping it when you are shaving. As well as being an injectable razor blade, it also has a dial going from 1 through 5 on the top of the razor. And this is to be able to dial how aggressive you would like your shave to be. Goes from a 1, which is the more mild setting, all the way up to a 5 for the more aggressive. The razor's weight, although it looks like it might be on the heavier side, is actually a rather light razor, coming in at just 1.2 ounces. Shaving with this razor was fairly comfortable. I had to put a little bit of pressure on the razor due to the light weight of it. However, when it came to shaving with the Parker injectable, I found that it was very ergonomic in the hand. I never had any cramping or uncomfortable feeling from holding the razor itself while shaving. I feel, however, that the razor could get a little bit closer to the skin, and it does take a little bit of time to really figure out what angle you should be holding this razor at. So there is a bit of a learning curve using this razor. Changing the blade on this injectable razor is fairly simple using the injector cartridge. Simply hold the razor with the bottom facing up, insert the injector key into the slot at the top of the razor head. Slide the new razor in place with the blade loader. The new blade will push the old blade out of the razor. Then just dispose of the old blade. My experience using the Parker injectable razor is as follows. First thing that I noticed when I got this, and I want to preface this with saying that I am definitely not a package snob. However, I do appreciate when companies have their product secured inside of their packaging. A little bit of cardboard can go a long way in making sure that a product isn't just freely bouncing around the inside of the box like this one was. I believe that this did come with some plastic or something around it though, so at least it wasn't completely naked in there, but I would have preferred at least something to hold both the razor as well as the cartridge in place. Now, of course, that's not a huge deal because we really care about the product itself. So my first impressions of this razor was that it looked like it was going to be a bit heavier than it actually is. But as it turns out, this plastic piece I think is mostly hollow, so that's not adding much weight onto it. And this is a very thin metal handle. It actually is not as thick as it may look on the sides because it is actually bent over a little bit. So this is a bit lighter than I thought that it was going to be, but that's not a deal breaker for me. However, if it didn't come with the 20 blades, it would have been returned immediately. And the reason why is because the blade that comes in the razor when it is shipped is absolute shit. And I'm not the only one that thinks so. In fact, if you go online and look, a lot of the reviews are saying the same thing. So the first thing you need to do before you ever put lather on your face is to switch that out. And to tell you how dull that first blade actually is, I lathered up my face real good like I usually do after a shower so the hairs were nice and soft, and I made a couple of passes and nothing. All I did was remove the shaving cream. So it couldn't even cut through the thinnest of my beard hairs. So definitely, if you get this razor, before you hop in the shower, you lather up your face, go ahead and change that blade out. Speaking of a blade replacement, I found that it can definitely be a bit finicky because sometimes the blade, when you are sliding it over into the razor, just doesn't want to line up nice and straight like it should. And so you really got to be careful about that. If you notice that it's not going in quite straight enough or isn't going to line up properly, go ahead, disconnect the key from the razor and just push the blade back into the cartridge and try again. There are two little nubs on the razor head that the blade needs to be lined up with and be above. If you notice that something went wrong right at the end of changing the blade or after you change it, go ahead and just use the end of the key to push that blade up in place very carefully. Make sure you don't accidentally cut yourself and make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on that little blade so you don't ruin the edge of the razor. The adjustability on this razor, I would say, is fairly decent. I didn't have any issues with setting it at like a 3 or a 4 and it staying there, so it wasn't ever changing the aggressiveness on its own. I would have to say that it goes from about an aggressiveness of a very light, mild aggressive to a bit heavier aggressive. It's not a huge difference. I really could only tell differences between 1 and 3 and 3 and 5. So 2 and 4, I couldn't really tell much of a difference on the shave, but I'm sure that some people with much more sensitive skin than I have probably could. Now I wish I would have done a little bit more research when using this razor, because what I found out is that I may have been using it at a little bit more of an angle than I should have been when shaving, which definitely cost me a little bit of blood, because I actually nicked myself more times with this razor than I have any of the last 10 that I have reviewed. And I found out the reasoning why is because I was holding this like a double-edged razor at about a 30-degree angle, or about the same as I do my other single edge blade. And when I was holding it at the proper angle, I found that it definitely got close, but it didn't get as close as some of my normal double edge or single edge razors do. But you definitely need to figure out that right angle, which can definitely take some time. But I do have to say that it got close enough that I didn't mind it. Now, who do I think that Parker's injectable razor is good for, if anybody at all? Well, I think that most razors, at the very least, have their perfect customer. So I do think there are people out there that would like how this shaves. Maybe those that have a bit more sensitive skin than I do might like the fact that it doesn't get quite as close as some of my double edge blades. And it is adjustable, which means that they may be able to get the perfect adjustment on this that they can't get with a different razor. I also think that this may be a semi-okay in-between razor from somebody that's going from a cartridge razor to a double edge or single edge razor, because of that lower angle that is much closer to what you see when you use a cartridge type razor. Now, I don't think this would be a good razor for somebody that is just starting out shaving, period, as this razor will definitely let you know when you are at the wrong angle, and some newcomers to shaving may not really like that, because you will definitely get a little bit of razor burn as well as possibly draw a little blood with it. Now, do I think that this is worth the money? Well, let's play a little guessing game. Pause this video and let me know down in the comment section what you think the price of this razor is or should be. Now that you've guessed, it goes for right about $35. At least that's what I bought it for, and that's what it's going for at the time of this recording. Now, unfortunately, I have not tried any other injectable razors, so I can't tell you how this stacks up to other injectables. However, what I can tell you is that I think that if you are going to buy a non-cartridge razor and you don't care if it is single or double edge, I think that you can get for about the same price a really decent double edge razor with about 50 to 100 blades for right about that same price. If you'd like to know a razor that I would recommend other than this one, check out this video up here. Down below, that's going to be a video that you may enjoy as well. Until next time, as always, you have a good one.